Good evening. I'm Sundeep Kumar from the Dalmia Bharat Group. I have actually two questions, one for ma'am and one for Mr. Swaroop. Ma'am, you mentioned that the steel industry requires protection, requires to be guided, and I think the Steel Ministry is very lucky to have you as one of its custodians. I represent the cement industry, and I feel equally that the cement industry is also, a very critical industry as far as infrastructure is concerned. And unfortunately, it has no MIBAP like the steel industry, perhaps. And which is why it still continues to be in a situation where, despite 30% underutilization, 60,000 crores of investment locked up in that, we continue to have import duties, rather free import of cement, and at the same time import duties on the inputs. So my question really is that, like the steel industry, don't you feel that even the cement industry needs to have a similar degree of, patronage? Primarily because, cement is the largest man-made consumed product in the world. And my second question, if I may ask to the Coal Secretary, is that you would well be aware of the tapering coal linkages of policy of 2010. Now, that was obviously created on the back of the allocation of coal blocks, which were later nullified. But nevertheless, this policy remains. So it's almost the case of not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but actually throwing the baby out and keeping the bathwater, if you like. So don't you feel that in view of the coal allocations being nullified, this policy also needs to get nullified?
Would you like to take it?
Ma'am, why don't you start, and then I'll come to Mr. Swaroop.
I won't be able to specifically comment on your question about the cement industry. But all I can tell you is that, world over, the steel industry is a very strategic industry. And I think historically, every country has protected steel because it is closely linked to a country's development. It's, economic security, it's defense security, and its developmental and growth objectives. So the second thing is that the steel industry is very, very capital intensive. As you know, it costs almost 6,000 to 7,000 crores to set up 1 million capacity. So I think it is, given these reasons, that the steel industry has enjoyed a kind of privileged position in terms of...
Maybe we need a cement secretary, and then maybe his problems are going to be addressed as well.
Yeah,
It's so heartening to know that you want a secretary. Earlier you didn't want. Anyway, let me attempt to answer both your questions. One, wearing my hat as...
Less of your time, maybe, you can take on additional...
Okay, so wearing my hat as Chairman PMG, which I was about a year and a half ago, I think you have a department that looks after your interests. Probably you don't know where you got to go. Go to Secretary DIPP. It's his domain. And now that you mention it, I'll mention it to him as well. I think cement is extremely, extremely critical for our country. And they should come up with a similar package as is being done in steel and as has been done in Uday. I keep going back to Uday because that's a package for the entire power sector. It cannot be only one intervention that will help you. There has to be a package, and I think should come for cement industry. And coal also can chip in as far as that is concerned. Let me clarify with regard to the second question. Once the basis of allocation of coal went by, then the tapering linkages also go by. You can't have a tapering linkage for something, the very essence has gone, so tapering linkage will not be there. It's not there. However, what we've done now is, the cabinet has taken a decision. We are in the process of auctioning additional linkages, and we are allocating additional quantities of coal for sectors like aluminium, cement and steel, and all of you will stand to benefit by this additional allocation of coal. Coal, I assure you, shall not be a problem for your industry.
When will this be taken up by Cabinet, sir? Because we've been hearing about this linkage policy.
No, it happened in February.
Yeah.
The process is underway. Auctions will take place in the month of May.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Das.
No, I'll just supplement what my colleagues have said with regard to the cement. The huge outlay which government has made for roads, for railways, for irrigation and other infrastructure sectors, I think it is leading to an increased demand for cement. And in any case, last year also there was a perceptible increase in demand for cement, and I think cement prices are looking up. It's a cyclical industry, and prices are looking up. Since I guess you are from the same business, from the same industry, so you would know better than anyone else here. So there is there's an upswing in the demand is picking up, and prices have also slightly firmed up so far as the cement is concerned. And this year, I can assure you that there is going to be a lot of demand. So your sector is, I think, going to benefit from all this infra spending. And you also mentioned about import duty on certain inputs, etc. I mean, you know that this NVAT facility is available even on import duty. If there is a problem of inverted duty structure, let me mention that in the last 2 budgets, the government has corrected lot of, in many sectors, the problem of inverted duty structure have been corrected. So if you feel that there is a problem of inverted duty structure, you please give it to Finance Ministry, to Revenue Department. I am sure they will examine it and consider it.
All right, gentlemen and Ms. Sundarajan, unfortunately, we could have continued this conversation, but we've run out of time. So let me end by asking each one of you, at forums like this, we always ask you what you're most optimistic about, what you're most confident about. So let me flip that around and let me start by asking you, Mr. Swaroop, what are you most fearful about today?
No, on the contrary, I was so happy to learn that bureaucracy is not going to wither away. There are still people wanting to have bureaucrats. So I'm very happy at that. And as far as being afraid of anything, after having been Coal Secretary, you're not afraid of anything.
Mr. Das, over to you.
No, I think one should not be unduly worried about fear factors. India has a big opportunity. This budget has really reinforced and opened up many areas of opportunity. As the Finance Minister described, it's a transformative budget. I think it is India's opportunity to grow and to do better. So I think all of us, me and my colleagues and everyone in the government today, we are focusing on implementation, implementation and implementation.
Okay, Mr. Deepak?
The telecom sector is amongst the infrastructure sectors, one of the most successful sectors. But looking at the potential and demand of data, I think the best time is yet to come. In the sense that the new opportunities with smartphones coming in, with connectivity increasing, with infrastructure moving to rural areas, will really help in both increasing the top line as well as the take-home profits of this industry. And I hope that will lead
including BSNL and MTNL.
BSNL and MTNL will also benefit if the industry grows. They have their own problems. I mean, if you have organizations where 50% and 67% of the top line is the staff cost, they have special disabilities which need to be taken care of, and those are being taken care of separately. But the industry as a whole has, we were 20 years behind the world in 2G. We were 10 years behind the world in 3G. We got the 4G technology along with the world, and we will get the 5G technologies with the world. So we've done a lot of catching up. And the success has been wireless, which continues to be. And I'm very, very optimistic about the future of telecom.
Ma'am?
The global headwinds are worrying, but I think if there's any one country which probably will be able to withstand those and still have a smile on our faces, I think it's India. So we're in a sweet spot at the moment.
Mr. Chandra?
Well, we have to get all the stakeholders, the banks, the concessionaires, the contractors, the consultants, the managerial efficiencies all together, and it's a huge task, but it's just a matter of wanting to do it, and we are absolutely keen and determined to do it, and we'll do it.
Well,